I love your idea of engaging at least the ones that still remain in the area, the past regular residents, to find out, what were the things that were done that were most beneficial?
Yeah.
What were the things that they would have done differently? Let's go ahead and get that conversation started.
Yeah.
I think what you're asking is not, what can the county do to make sure that nothing like this ever happens again? It's more like, if something like this happens again, what is our plan from here on forward? Am I understanding?
Yeah,
the question a little bit?
as written in the
Because we don't
letter,
want people thinking that just because, Sheriff Ritchie has a heart the size of the state of Idaho,
yeah,
and Dave has a great pickup truck, and Tom's an endurance machine,
right.
it's gonna happen like that again.
Yeah.
If something like that happens again, they should know who are the registered movers that we can call. Can we count on, you're not gonna be able to count on the county commissioners delivering water, because that may not be the county commissioner's slate that you see at that point in time. So instead of saying this is what happened and it was good, knowing that a lot of this did happen out of volunteer hours and the goodness of people's hearts, and so having some sort of a blueprint for these are the things that you can ask the county for, these are the things that you can ask the city for, these are things that you're gonna have to go to a private entity for. But the first question is to ask those residents, what was the most beneficial, what would you have done differently? What would your idea of a blueprint for how to make this be, more smooth happen?
Yeah,
And then engage the legal entities to find out, what is it that we can do, what is it that we would probably do just out of the goodness of our heart, and then what legally is there no way we can touch with a 10-foot pole.
And it's
Right.
better when a mobile home park uses city resources for
Right.
water and sewer,
yeah.
and not a private system
Yeah.
that's stuck
But
out
they
there that's gonna
intentionally
break.
buy private water.
It doesn't make
because-
sense. Another, Gary.
On a lighter note, we all hope the legislature will supply the funding for Medicaid expansion.
Yes.
Assuming they do, would one of you tend to, could you speculate on what it would mean as far as the finances, money coming in or going out of Latah County?
I think we're way too early to speculate that. There's talk. I got a phone call from Bill Spence the other day asking me if the legislators came to the county and wanted part of what you're spending on indigent fund now to help fund Medicaid expansion, would you? And Tom and I differ on our opinions on that. Gary, I think this would be a great question to ask me in about 3 weeks or a couple weeks when the legislature gets a better idea of how they're gonna fund it, what sideboards, if any, they're gonna put on it. My ultimate hope is they fund it other than taking money from the counties, and Kathy and Tom and I can use that money to fund Ritchie's, the jail improvements we need, and can help the Lake Harbor Recovery Center. That's my ultimate hope. That would be a great thing, and take care of other issues we got. That's what I would like to see. Whether that's gonna happen or not, we'll find out next month.
We have 2 second questions. Was there a first question?
Well, I was interested in your comments about, this Medicare. I mean, is there any kind, Medicaid, excuse me, I wasn't mixing up. But anyway, it seems like you're just saying if the legislature, we talk about this conservative legislature, is there any leverage that you can have to see that it gets passed? I see it's before the Supreme Court here in Idaho this morning.
I think as county commissioners,
That's not gonna, I don't think
That
that's
one,
gonna.
that one.
as county commissioners, to answer your question, we've been, Tom and I especially, been screaming at the top of our lungs at the legislators whenever we see them and everywhere we go, and emails and phone calls. So behind the scenes, there's lots of county commissioners sending lots of emails and lots of phone calls, and when you see them down at coffee on Saturday, hey Carol, make sure, or Dave Nelson or Bill Goslin, we need you to support
Sending them
funding
texts
it.
late at night.
And
You're gonna vote the right way tomorrow, right?
Carol loves it when I text her at 11:30 at night in our time. We're
They
keeping
don't
the
really
pressure.
like it.
I have a follow-up to
Yeah,
that, because
please.
Latah County, and it's been, that we spend approximately $500 million on the indigent fund, and the CAC fund spends, I know, it's more than that. However, my question is, because everybody thinks that Medicaid expansion is gonna be this cure-all, and I was wondering if anybody did any analysis of, say, the $500,000 we spend, because I know under the indigent fund, you'll cover things like transportation, or utility bills, or a variety of things that are definitely not medical. So in that respect, the county will save some money, but has anybody done any analysis of what we spent on the indigent fund last year, that says of the 500,000, 400,000 was on medical, or 200,000, or,
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I sit
Do
on
we know?
the Health and Human Services Committee of the Idaho Association of Counties, and statewide, they've been looking at all the different counties and where we are tracking with all of these things. Because Congress last year removed the mandate,
yes,
we started seeing, again, rises. And so it's really hard for us to say, hey, we've got an extra $250,000 this year that we're not gonna need because it's been expanded. I don't want to touch any of that until we know for sure that we're trending in the right direction again. And I'm really nervous about the state coming and saying, hey, we're gonna take your money now because you don't need it.
yeah.
I think we have other issues. We have the recovery center, we have people needing help with,
Housing assistance.
exactly. We've got a lot of people saying, you know what, we want to improve the public transportation system in rural areas. I mean, there's a lot of things that have been talked about that I think before we start grabbing that money and using it for this, let the state find their money and do that first, and then let's figure out what we need to do.
Well, I just want to support the fact that under the indigent fund, I want you to keep paying for those people for their power bill,
Yeah.
for the gas to get to
Absolutely.
the doctor, et
Louise,
cetera.
Louise, one of the, what, not many people know this, but the county pays to bury probably a half a dozen people a year. People who have no family and no money and who pass away. Last year, I think, Henry Ann's 6 or
Cremate.
7, or cremate them or whatever, that's about $750. So you're right, there is other pieces. We've paid power bill for, I don't know, 8 or 9 or 10 people. We've paid the month's rent for a half a dozen people or whatever the number is. So the indigent fund is not going completely away.
Yes.
It'll still be there, but
Keep doing it.
keep doing it. Okay?
Yeah, what,
Well,
okay, you had, yes.
well,
Go ahead.
Little, I heard that Little wants to use the Millennium Fund to pay
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
Medicaid. And what, is the Millennium Fund also part of the rainy day fund or something?
No.
I don't know, what?
Millennium
what-
Fund is the tobacco settlement.
Yeah, right, yeah, I know,
And then
yeah.
the CAP fund is where I would like to see them go, and that's the money that's currently using everything past $11,000.
Oh, right.
So the county does the first 11, and then everything goes to the
Yeah.
I have been attending the Poverty and the Police Group,
Say that one more time.
Poverty in the Police Group.
Oh,
Poverty and the Police Group. They would like to expand their reach into Latah and Whitman County to come up with resources and things for those people who need it. Is there any way that the county commissioners can help get that off the ground?
So the poverty,
Poverty and the Police Group has been meeting for at least the last couple of years. Like there's one coming up for a meeting in the morning, there's one on the 21st coming up for a late afternoon meeting.
I know I've gone to some of those.
Yeah.
I think you've gone to.
So I'm part of the funding group. Is there any way the county can help find locations for the funding group to have a place
More of a central.
for a centralized location so people can come and get the help they need.
I think the county's more likely to support existing nonprofit effort to do that than to take on the leadership role in doing that.
She's asking for money.
Is that what you're
Well-
asking, or are you asking for us?
If Poverty and the Police creates its own 501c3,
Yeah.
would the county help support that effort in?
Potentially,
or-
I mean, we're always getting advice that there are legal limitations on what the county is legally allowed to do with nonprofit organizations.
We haven't taken advice all the time.
But we don't always take it.
I'd love to talk more about this when you get closer to getting.
Especially our previous commissioner, he
Because we would-
never wanted to take the advice.
I would love to look at that and see if there's a way we could help fund it. Yeah, it sounds like a worthy cause.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it could be in conjunction with, you know, I remember,
Cap
the main thing
fund
that I
and-
found in going to the poverty campus is there's a lot of little tendrils out there all throughout Lake County that are doing something.
Yeah.
But there isn't a very good coordinated.
Kinda like
center
LP
of
was
Because we
doing.
went to, had a meeting with the community action program. They would like to expand their food bank, because what they have for a food bank right now is tiny.
Yeah.
And if we could get like the regular food bank and their food bank
And what's on
together
campus
and
the
with
one
expanded
pond,
hours, so more
everything
people could
coordinated.
use it, it'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Could you say your name?
Huh?
What, I didn't catch your name, I'm sorry.
My name is Linda.
Linda and Louise, you should talk to each other because you both said really similar things. And she's not looking at me now, so she's not hearing what I'm saying, but maybe right afterwards, if you two can talk and then pull your ideas together, because they sound like
The same thing.
they really match well. And then, did you?
Yeah, just to follow up on that, so this Poverty on the Blue Series, as you know, when it started in 2010, the League of Women Voters did a study on poverty, and subsequently the Pullman League of Women Voters did the same. So a lot of the groundwork has been done, even though circumstances have changed. But I would encourage those who might want to pursue this. Jessica Brierly, I think, is chairing the Poverty on the Blue Series now. She'd be a great resource. Jen Piffner is kind of keeper of the archives for this, for what was done previously, and the League's study and recommendations are supported online. So to look at what was done and what the opportunities are for this single portal of entry was what the concept was, and it was envisioned as either an actual place or a virtual place. So I do think there are reasons to pull this together to avoid duplication unnecessarily, various things like that.
Yeah, thank you.
I was gonna echo what Nancy said, but for those who don't know, our study is at the League of Women Voters Moscow website, if you want to download it or just read it online.
Is there a last thing we didn't touch on? Thing?
Earl hasn't had it.
Earl hasn't.
I would like to suggest, since everybody's so interested in this, that the Moscow Chamber of Commerce, every couple of weeks now, is sponsoring a coffee with our legislators.
Oh, yeah.
At 9
Saturday
o'clock.
morning, 9 o'clock.
Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, and if you really feel deeply about these things, and what you're saying is there's so much of this stuff that's all intertwined, like we know. They can't do anything because state funding isn't going to do this. Here's an opportunity for you. We've got good legislators, we've got a good county government. Moscow's got a good city government, in my opinion. It's a time, if you're going to do anything, now's the time to do it, but you're going to have your legislators helping you out on this. Medicaid expansion is not a set deal in the legislature. 1/3 of the House of Representatives signed a letter before it was even voted on stating that they would not support it. That's 1/3.
Some of them have changed their
That's,
mind.
so that's so you need to talk to your guys, make sure you keep them all in line.
So there's also pizza